All right, Glass is here after a 19-year hiatus between Unbreakable and this film. Holy crap, that was a long ass wait. If you were a big fan of Unbreakable back in 2000 and you were like, oh, I can't wait to see a sequel for that, obviously you had to wait a good long time. But was it worth the wait? Was it a good sequel to Unbreakable and Split? Yes, I think that the critics are wrong on this. I know a lot of them are shitting on this movie, but man, I thought that this was very serviceable to Unbreakable fans and Split fans, almost split 50-50. It really did feel like it was blending the two together and it worked well. I mean, James McAvoy is amazing again. I think Bruce Willis is kind of a one-trick pony, but it's a trick we like. It's a trick that we've enjoyed for so many years that we're just used to it at this point. He's got that range, he's got that character, and he plays it. And he plays it the way he's played it at Unbreakable, the way he's played it in every other thing, and it works. It works for the film. He's good. Samuel Jackson, as usual, is awesome. Every bit of dialogue he is given, he just owns it. He always does. You can give Samuel L. Jackson an ingredients list and he can make it sound awesome. So he's somebody you can almost always count on. That's why he's in every freaking movie you ever watch, because he's just that guy who makes even the dumbest dialogue sound amazing. But you give him amazing dialogue, and then you get stuff like Pulp Fiction and whatnot. But yeah, I now as far as the story goes, I'm sure you've seen the trailers, but if for some reason you haven't, this takes place obviously after Split. Dennis is on the lookout for this killer that's going around, and he's taken up the mantle as this overseer, superhero type figure who goes out and protects the streets at night, but he's got a new target, which we see at the end of the Split. And he's out there looking for him. And I don't want to give too many spoilers, but there is a few reoccurring characters here from the other films, which I thought were great, and I thought that they blended them well together. And when they have their interactions, it does feel genuine. But here's the thing about this movie, and I think this is why this film might not be liked by people, certain people. This has a lot of subversion of expectations. It does not go in a lot of ways that you think, and it doesn't have a traditional ending and whatnot. Also, in addition to that, we live in the era of superheroes. This is what the majority of big budget films are right now. You got the MCU, you've got the DCU, you've got freaking the X-Men universe, there's a lot of comic book films coming out right now. Those are the most popular films, the Avenger films, the Spider-Man films, the whatever. And in those films, there's a very specific formula, and there's a very specific amount of certain elements. One of those being action, and it being very action-centric. This film is not action-centric at all, and I think that because people are so used to the superhero formulaic, structure, and all of the things that come with it, I think they'll go into this and feel like it's lackluster, that it's slow, that it's boring, that it's plotting, that it doesn't really pick up, that the middle segment, the second act is overbloated or stretching or whatever. I don't feel that's true. I feel like as a sequel to two separate films that are connecting together, it does a very good job of connecting them, and I think that it plays very true to the first and the second film. Neither one of those are a thrill a minute. Neither one of those movies have tons of action sequences. They are superhero movies, but they're grounded superhero movies that deal more with the psychological angle of it and more of a realistic take, and not the realistic like Batman take on things, but a much more grounded realistic of how people may be if they found out they had these powers. And the stuff that, they get taken in, as you've probably seen in the trailer, but obviously, Mr. Glass and Dennis and Kevin, aka the Horde, whatever you want to call him, the dude with the multiple personalities, they all end up in the same psychiatric hospital, and the doctor is trying to get them to interact with one another. And her ultimate game, I liked. I think that people may not like where this ends up going, because, as I said, I think that surface level, it feels lackluster, but ultimately what the story tells us, I do really enjoy. And I think it's something that on further watches, especially if you watch all three of them back to back, I do think that it plays well together as a trilogy. I think throwing in a bunch of random action sequences, or giving more of this obvious third act that people would be looking for, I don't think it would have been true to M. Night Shyamalan's career and the series thus far. So those are my thoughts on it. I'm curious on what people thought. I'm sure you guys all went and saw it. It's not really looking for a recommendation here all that much. If you're a fan of Unbreakable, you're a fan of Split, you wanted to see them connected, this is that movie. And man, it's cool to see them all on screen together. I love seeing Anya Taylor-Joy back. I really liked where her character went, certain things that she talks about. That's like a big, fist pumping moment. The connections between the characters, their interactions with each other. Freaking Samuel Jackson is incredible in this movie. As always, the dude really just owns the screen anytime he's on it, always. And I had a good time, man. This is something I think will be even better with a second watch. Just connecting everything that you just saw, because in M. Night Shyamalan fashion, there's multiple twists within the film, and like them or not, I like the risks involved. It's a ballsy film in a lot of ways, and I dug it, and I hope that people go and check it out. But as I said, you probably already did. Let me know what you thought, and I look forward to talking about it with you guys. All right.